Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us here tonight in the studio is His Excellency Dr. Mungi Badr, the Minister Plenipotentiary and Board Member of the Egypt UN Association. Dr. Badr, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, and good evening for you and your viewers.
Good evening, sir. Now, Dr. Badr, we are talking today is one of the historical moments in Egypt's modern history. Now, last December, President Sisi won the elections by an 89.9% almost,
yes,
against three other candidates. Fast forward to April 2nd, today, swearing-in ceremony for a third presidential term, a 6-year term. Now, before we start talking about the event today in specific, let's try and take a look at some of the achievements over the past few years that took place under the presidency of President Sisi and assess it up until April 2nd, 2024.
Indeed, it's a historical day for Egypt. 10 years of achievement in all fields, starting from economy, ending for social affairs. Number two, 89% or 90% reflect the trust of Egyptian people of His Excellency Sisi. Number three, it was very tough days last 10 years because Egypt did two things. It seems that contradiction, realizing national security and in the meantime achieving economic development. Both of them cannot done in one time before, but we did it in Egypt. Number three, stability in foreign policies between East and West, and also rebuilding excellent relation with Arab countries and African countries. Number four, joining new blocs.
Yes, like the BRICS.
Yeah. Number five, deepening historical relation with Europe and the United States of America. And in the meantime, we are looking for our interest, the interest of normal Egyptian man, and also the interest of Egyptian economy. The last point which I would like to stress that Mr. Sisi is very modest man. He is doing his job very well. He has the will and he has the tools to implement what he is dreaming. Most of his dreaming reflecting from Egyptian society. Egyptian society which dream to have Egypt one of the big player in Middle East, to rebuild again our economy on real economy, depending on industry and agriculture. It doesn't mean that we are going to neglect service sector, no. It means that we are going to concentrate on all sectors which we have advantage in economy. The last point which I would like to say is that this day, this historical day, His Excellency, Mr. President, he did 4 new things, doesn't happen before, since more than 1,000 years. Number one, new place.
Yes, the new
administrative. Number two, new building for parliament. Number three,
a new presidential term.
New presidential term. Number five, Mr. President, he did something which not happened before. Started his speech with reciting from Holy Quran, and ending his speech also with reciting from Holy Quran. This it means it's a message to Egyptian side that our values, we are very keen about this. And in the meantime, we would like to compete with others to have modern Egypt. This, it's not contradictions, dreams. No, we should use our values to develop our country.
Well, Dr. Badri, you've alluded to the actual swearing-in and inauguration ceremony, and it was a magnificent event to be witnessed. Now, following the ceremony, the President gave a long speech, and he spoke about many different points and his main goals and main targets and the main issues on the agenda that he wants to tackle during the upcoming 6 years. So, I mean, there are mainly 7 points, but let's go briefly over each and every one of them.
Yeah.
The first one was regarding the foreign relations, which is something very timely, especially in a time over the past, I mean, since October 7th, since the conflict in Gaza took place. In that time alone, the President met and made and received so many calls with world leaders on daily, if not hourly basis. So what do you think of the foreign relations, be it concerning the situation in Gaza or away from it, the balance of power, the political weight of Egypt regionally and internationally as well?
If you allow to me, I would like to go back to the beginning of His Excellency speech, reciting the Holy Quran. Maybe it's a new attitude in this channel that I would like to mention that Mr. President start his new term by reciting verse from Holy Quran. I'm going to mention it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير إنك على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. This, it's a direct and indirect message to some groups in Egypt and outside Egypt. Going back to your point, Mr. President, he mentioned 7 points. The first point, it was, as you mentioned, the foreign relation or foreign policy. In fact, it's again, it's a balance in our foreign policies between our local and regional and international level. Both of them, we are merging all 3 dimensions before we have any steps in our foreign relation. We should understand our people inside, our abilities, especially in economic side. Number 2, regional dimension. We should balance who is who, and also in the meantime, what we can do, what we have. And in the meantime, international dimension, that there is a conflict now between the States and Europe from side, and China and Russia from other side. In this conflict, we should understand very, very well how we can maximize our benefits from this relation, from East and West. The most important point, is it better for Egypt to diversify its foreign policies or foreign relation? Yes, it's very important, because with BRICS, we are going to gain a lot of economic advantage. And also with Europe, we already have an historical agreement. According to this agreement, we are going to have more than $8 billion as a loan and direct investment, and also incentives for Egyptian economy.
And milestones with African countries as well.
Yes. Number 2, also, they facilitate our mission with IMF. Finally, they increased the loan from 3 to 8 billion. And also we are going to have 1.2 billion from another fund relating to IMF. The most important point, it is the World Bank already declared that he is ready to have an agreement with Egypt with $6 billion. All this came after Ras Al Hikma deal, which signed on 24 of February last month, or in February before the last month. This it's again a message to us that in very tough time, who stand with you? It's your brother from Arab countries. So the most important point, would you think that another investment or huge investment is coming in future? Yes, I can say yes, it's a huge investment coming from some Arab countries. Another point, it's only Arab countries? No. Big investment is coming from China. Maybe it's more than Ras Al Hikmah. And we expect to have industrial zone in North, in Mediterranean Sea in North. So China in this regard, it has two industrial cities in Egypt, one in Al Ain Al Sukhna and another one in close to Ras Al Hikmah.
Yes.
This proves to you that you have excellent resources, and the point how we can use it, how we can manage these resources. We have diversified economy. We have oil, we have natural gas, we have manpower, we have service sector. It's very important. And in the meantime, you have Suez Canal. It's the most important passage for international trade. Also, we have your unique location, Egypt.
Yes.
It's between north and south, east and west.
Yes.
So we have all elements which you can use it in coming term. The point, how to maximize all this advantage of Egyptian and Egyptian economy. So what we did before, 10 years, we spent more than 10 trillion Egyptian pound in infrastructure. Would you think it's enough? No, it's not enough. We did huge achievement in industry, agriculture, and also in smart village. Is it enough? No. If you would like to compete with others, if you would like to put Egypt in excellent situation between nations, you should exert a lot of more effort.
Yes.
Even His Excellency, Mr. President, he mentioned this before, that we already finished the first stage and we still have two stages behind.
Yes.
We are going to do these two stages, and also you have very young society, 60% from Egyptian society, young people. So we can use it as an engine to realize the progress in our culture, in our economy, in our service, and even in the life of Egyptian man.
Dr. Badr, now you've mentioned Egypt's foreign affairs file and foreign relations file, and you've alluded to how we would be using it or how to develop it politically and economically as well. You also spoke about the politics internationally, regionally, and domestically.
Yeah.
Now, one of the points that the President mentioned was really enhancing and strengthening the national dialogue in Egypt between different parties, different sects of society, really giving voice really to the voiceless or who've been voiceless for decades. Now, how would you assess the national dialogue over the past few years, and how can it be more constructive, more effective within our society?
I agree with you. In fact, we have two national dialogue. The first one was a little bit common between policy, between economy, and many other items. But the second one, it was very informative dialogue, concentrate on economic side and also on short term. So it was direct point, what we can do to overcome the crisis, economic crisis in, now. And also he requested them to merge between thesis and also between reality. I don't need ideas flying in the sky. I need ideas which I can implement on reality. This it was the most important point. Also, a second what we call a second development in the mechanism of of this economic dialogue, to have a committee between our thinkers and also between the ministers.
Yes.
This committee, they discussing all ideas, what we can do and what we cannot do. And this, in fact, is a very important point. And this committee, they are meeting each other, I think, every 2 weeks. And if Prime Minister has enough time, he attend this committee. We can conclude something that
Yes.
we are going to have practical ideas and practical rules to help us to understand much better all crises,
Yes.
or we can reach solution for all this, putting in our mind that you are living in globalization.
Yes,
And
definitely.
any decree, any regulation which you are going to apply, it will affect you inside and regionally and internationally. So it's we should have sensitive analysis when we are going to apply any solution, putting in our mind that we are not living alone. There are a lot of other dimensions which we should be sensitive before we take any action.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the national dialogue has been one of the things that took place and was considered an achievement under the president over the past 10 years. But let's check out this report regarding the achievements over the past 10 years of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and we'll be right back.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's sweeping victory in the latest presidential elections has come as no surprise to people, as his presidency witnessed many achievements in various domains. Deep under Sisi's election win of a third term as president are achievements he made in the past 10 years in the office, which covered almost all walks of life in Egypt since assuming office on June 8, 2014. Egypt's foreign policy succeeded in achieving a new start on various pivots, topped by obtaining non-permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council, assuming chairmanship of the United Nations Security Council Counter-Terrorism Committee, assuming chairmanship of the Arab Summit, combining membership of the African Peace and Security Council and chairmanship of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, and assuming chairmanship of the African Union. Egypt showed keenness to establish balanced relations with all countries of the world. Accordingly, President Sisi paid foreign visits and participated in regional and international summits and forums other than his bilateral visits to various world countries, which come for the interest of Egypt politically and economically. In this context, Egypt adopted firm stances, especially towards regional issues in the Middle East. Egypt's affiliation to the African continent comes on top of its foreign policy and constitutes one of the main milestones in the history of Egypt, where since President Sisi assumed office, Egypt has aimed to play an active role in various mechanisms of joint African action through stimulating cooperation between Egypt and African brothers in all fields, the matter which was shown by paying many visits and welcoming the African officials in Egypt. The relation between Egypt and its partners in Asia witnessed great momentum based on the exchange of interests. The Asian Circle came at the concentration of President Sisi's attention when new relations were built with Asian countries that were not visited by any Egyptian president, in addition to the return of suspended visits to major Asian countries. This fact was embodied in the Asian tours paid by President Sisi and his official visits, which aimed to benefit from the experiences and expertise of these countries in the areas of development, education, industry, development of Egyptian economy, and attraction of investments, where they resulted in the signing of several agreements and memoranda of understanding in these areas. The Egyptian-European relations witnessed strong momentum at the bilateral level through President Sisi's visit to Germany, Italy, Britain, France, Russia, Hungary, Portugal, or at the multilateral level, including mechanism of tripartite cooperation with Greece and Cyprus, or development of relations up to the level of partnerships with the countries of the Visegrad through Egypt's first participation in the group summit. The Egyptian-American relations witnessed significant development, where the Egyptian-American coordination represents an important part in the strategy of cooperation in issues and files, especially with regard to terrorism. Domestically, developing the health sector has always been a top priority for the state. This has been evident in the rise of public spending on health to £222 billion in fiscal year 2022-2023. Several initiatives have been carried out to care for Egyptians' health and improve quality of their lives, topped with 100 million Healthy Lives initiative and 100 Healthy Days, which have benefited millions of people all over the country. President Sisi also stressed the importance that Egypt attaches to the issue of food security, and many projects have been implemented in the sector over past years, like New Delta, which aims to reclaim 1 million fadans and provide over 200,000 various job opportunities. Energy has always been a national security issue in Egypt, and over the past 10 years, it has experienced an unprecedented boom thanks to strong support from President Sisi. New service stations have been established and existing ones were developed, and an additional 29,000 megawatts were added to the national grid, bringing the total to 56,000 megawatts. Egypt has signed a number of deals with International Alliance for the production of green hydrogen and its derivatives in the Suez Canal Economic Zone, as the country seeks to become a global hub for green hydrogen production, reduce emissions, and develop the use of renewable and alternative energy sources over the coming years.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our discussion with Dr. Mongi Badr. Sir, now, one of the points that the President mentioned in his speech was really working on the institutional reform, and we've seen a kind of transitional phase over the past few years, be it digital transformation, refurbishing the new administrative capital with all the institutions, all the ministries and the administrative buildings moving from downtown Cairo, for instance, to the new capital, and really applying the digital and technological aspect in terms of the management and administration of the government's affairs. How far do you think we need to go further in terms of the institutional reform and transformation?
It's very important. You cannot compete without institutional reform. We should. Just number one, because of lack of time, I'm going to mention in few seconds that ensuring the financial discipline and achieving governance, rationalizing public spending, enhancing public revenue, and enhancing public revenue by direct investment. And this investment, it should be by government or Egyptian private sector or international private sector. We would like to achieve sustainable development. And in the meantime, we would like to minimize foreign debt.
Yes.
As well as transforming Egypt into regional center for transport and transit trade, because we have Suez Canal and our unique location. One, it's very important, it's new energy and renewable energy.
Yes,
it's
definitely.
very important. And green hydrogen and green ammonia. In addition, maximizing the role of Suez Canal. It's not a matter of passage of ships, no. It's a matter of using the area behind or beside this passage to use it in economic way. And in the meantime, we have a lot of industrial cities related to Russia, India, China. Many countries, they are investing in economic zone area.
Another point was the human resources and working on human resources. Starts off with the education, the health services, empowering women. I mean, the human aspect of our society, I mean, it is our greatest asset the country has, which is the Egyptian citizen. So how far do you still think we need to work on empowering and enhancing the human factor?
We need to increase the quality of education. This is very important. Number one, empowering women. It's very important for Egyptian society because the role of the woman. But I think from my side that women now, they have a lot of
Power.
of power, and maybe one day, very soon, me or you as a man, we are going to call for to have the same level of advantage. But it's very important for women because every day they are proving that they are very trust and they are very responsible to achieve what they are doing. And I would like to mention you very short story that for banks, Egypt Bank or Al-Qahira or Al-Ahli or even the bank, Agriculture Bank, they mentioned to me many times, if we give loan to a man, yeah, it's usually he doesn't pay installation in time, but woman, she paid installation on time. So they like to deal with women much better more than men. So in fact, we need to maximize the using of empowering women, especially in small and medium projects. We would like to enrich and to develop this sector. It's very important because of what? Non-official sector in Egypt consists 40% from our national GDP, and we would like to merge this unofficial sector and official sector. In this, we are going to maximize our GDP, and in the meantime, we are going to refresh the Egyptian society.
Well, Dr. Mungi Badr, now, he also spoke, the president, about urban development, obviously working on the infrastructure, the new fourth generation smart cities, also speaking about the new agricultural areas, expanding the areas where Egyptians are inhabiting. But because we're running out of time, can you please shed light on what are we really hoping for and aspiring over the coming 6 years from President Sisi, and what are the main challenges that lay ahead?
I can, in few words, social safety network, it's very important. Haya Karima initiative.
Yes.
Yeah, UN, United Nations, consider it one of the best initiatives globally.
Yes.
This number one. Number two, for urbanization, in fact, developing this slums area, it was very important for us. And it's not, it has no dignity at all for human being. And in fact, we did a lot of effort to develop these areas. And this, it's very important to us. The last point related, what we are thinking, what we are, what our dreams, what we want from His Excellency Mr. President, and also what we need from Egyptian societies.
Yes.
Because I used to have balance between what I need from government and what I need from social organization. Number one, from Mr. President, my point we need more achievement, we need more development. Egypt should have very strong economy, which doesn't affect with any crisis around you.
Yes.
You should put this in your mind. This number one. Number two, we need economy which
sufficient.
Yeah. This it's very important. Number three, we should use our resources, our location, our youth, our natural resources, and also we should use our history and also civilization. How to transfer this history to economic benefits. This it's very important.
Yes.
How to develop our relation with Europe. Especially, I still insist to request to develop partnership agreement with Europe to include labor, transforming of labor between us and Europe. What we call for private sector in Egypt, that government is encouraging private sector to invest. And the private sector, for me and for you, it's Egyptian, Arab, and foreigners.
Yes.
So we are pushing the private sector to have a role in our coming days, and also for Egyptian entrepreneurs.
Yes.
You should be aware about future. If you didn't take your decision very fast, somebody else will take it. And don't come to blame me later,
Yes.
that we give a chance to foreigners, not for Egyptian. No, we would like to refresh our society, even classic private sector or new private sector, which I use to request that we need to have a training for youth to be as entrepreneurs.
But ladies and gentlemen, a lot to look back onto over the past 10 years, but still much more is being hoped for and aspired to over the coming 6 years. And still time is of the essence. A lot of files, a lot of aspirations and dreams and challenges, political, economic and social ones as well. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this edition of the Daily Debate. Before we go, I'd like to thank His Excellency Dr. Mungi Bedr, the Minister Plenipotentiary and board member of the Egypt-UN Association. Dr. Bedr, always a pleasure having you with us on the show.
Thank you very much and good night.
Good night, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for more coming up on Night International. I'm Henny Saif. Thank you for joining us.